I don't think I've ever seen Kerryn's forearms. She had bangles from wrist to elbow.
It's also like influencers and having like great celebrities wear our product. Does it have a great spike? I'm going to say no. But what does it do? It validates the brand.
We were there and witnessed the boom of e-com in the States. We were like, wow, this is incredible. This is the future.
Welcome to Add to Cart, Australia's leading e-commerce podcast that express delivers all you need to know in the fast-moving world of online retail. Here's your host, Bushy.
Welcome to another episode of Add to Cart. I'm Bushy and I'm joining you from the land of the Turrbal people, otherwise known as Brisbane, Australia. On Add to Cart, we welcome everyone to share and listen to e-commerce stories. The more diverse, the better. I want to especially welcome the traditional owners and the original storytellers of the land that we are on, our Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander listeners, to join us in our e-commerce conversations and our community. I've always been aware of the many amazing things that Japan has given us. Ramen, Kerryn, Mario Kart, but my recent family holiday over there gave me a few more to add to the list. And in particular, a business philosophy that I was delighted to discover that my guests today have always embraced. Now, I promise I'll stop talking about Japan soon, but it just keeps coming up, and I think it's my signal to go back. Today, I am lucky enough to be chatting with Kerryn and Aaron Langer, founder and CEO of Arms of Eve, a jewellery and accessories brand that channels self-expression. Starting life at the Sydney markets, Arms of Eve now boasts celebrity customers such as Margot, Robbie and Hailey Bieber, and is soon to open its fourth and fifth stores in quick succession. In this chat, Kerryn and Aaron share why they love the Japanese concept of Kaizen and how they apply it in their business to make continual little changes, even when it isn't always perfect. We discuss their multi-generational customers and what they need to do to cater with customers who range all the way from Gen Z through to baby boomers. Plus, we get nerdy talking about some of the most recent changes that they've made to their online presence to simplify the user journey and increase conversion. So let's get into it. Thanks to our partners, Shopify Plus and Deliver in Person, here's our conversation with Kerryn and Aaron Langer, founder and CEO of Arms of Eve. Aaron and Kerryn, welcome to Add to Cart. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Great to be here.
It's brilliant to have you here. We've been talking about this conversation for a little while now. In my research, I picked up on something that was really interesting to me in your About page. I just got back from Japan on family holiday, which was amazing. First time in Japan. And I noticed that in your About Us section on your website, you mentioned Kaizen and why that, resonates with you and how that's central to your philosophy at Arms of Eve. Tell me more about that, because I'm still in that world. I'm still in holiday mode.
Yeah, well, Kaizen's been there since the beginning.
Yeah, I think that is our culture. That encompasses actually who we are or what I strive to be more like. I mean, I think the very definition, Aaron, do you want to say how?
Well, what it translates to is small, continuous improvements all the time. And it's not like you have to make these big sweeping, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's like we're constantly making these adjustments all the time. And all those tiny adjustments lead up to big changes.
Yeah. And that's like the teamwork, the culture, the people, my factories, small improvements in my products, small improvements in the production line, in my customer service, in every aspect. I mean, literally my team will laugh. I'm like small improvements all the time. And I always say done is better than perfect, because just get it done and then we just keep improving and tweaking and changing all the time.
Like
so I say it to Connie, literally mantra daily.
And Kerry designed this like thick cuff, which our jewelry box was like, couldn't really close on top of it. So we're like, okay, we're going to make that box a few mils. It's like every little thing along the way. It's always like, what can we fix to make us better?
How do you mix that attention to detail with done is better than perfect?
Yeah, they contradict, but in the best way. I mean, if you don't do it, you've got to just get it done. Otherwise, you just are crippled with perfectionism and fear and it's the hardest thing is just to start. So for me, when you just say done is better than perfect, it's just like, just do it and you'll perfect it along the way. And that perfecting along the way is the Kaizen. It's just small improvement as we go. And from the beginning of time, from the markets to where we are now, you really see the bigger improvement of all the tiny ones along the way, where it's quality of product and material or our systems and how our tech all works together through to our packaging, there's so they do. I mean, I hope that
they're symbiotic actually, because you have to get things done in order to make improvements. So for us, we're just like, let's get it live. Let's get it to a point where we think it's good. Let's put it into motion. It's good enough. And then we'll tweak along the way. So if you don't get things live, then there's no Kaizen, like you've got to have something that's always slightly broken.
Which is wabi-sabi, which is another thing, which is also very Japanese. And that's like also the imperfections and the improvements. Like there is no perfectionism. There is nothing perfect. It's always a little bit off, and
I think that's just life, like we teach that to our children. I mean, it's always like, finding the mistakes, find them quickly and make them better.
Well, it's kind of funny you bring those together because I always talk about websites in particular, but you can extend it to product and team. Is like the website is the baby that you never stop feeding. So yes, you can build a new website, but it's not done. Like you've got that stage done and then you'll move into the next iteration and the next iteration. It's never done.
Never done. And it is, this whole business is the baby that, you nurture the most. Or no, not really. I mean, they need the most support, I guess. You constantly.
All the different facets of our business are like that, but the web in particular, because technology is changing and there are updates and there's always
integration,
better ways to just have things work more seamlessly. So it's constant.
My goodness, we've unpacked a whole bunch of, avenues to go down here already, which is fantastic. And we'll dive into each in our conversation. But I want to take us back to the start. So Arms of Eve now, really well-established, beautiful jewellery brand, 3 stores coming up to your 4th store openings. Incredible success so far, but take us back to the start. I understand that you guys started in Sydney market stalls, which is really interesting because it's been a bit of a common theme over the 400 plus episodes that we've had, is that it's a common starting place for brands such as Co and others to go, let's test it at markets first, which is probably the oldest form of retail you could think of before expanding out. What did you learn from starting in a market environment?
I would say how to hustle. I mean, I always knew how to hustle, but I hustled. I learned weather and like how to read knots of wind. I mean, the weirdest things I was learning, like, okay, this is like 25 plus. We cannot put a canopy up or, but I think I really learned who my market is and who they are, what they're looking for, and also like the joy of what I was doing and and adorning women and making them feel so like unique and beautiful and the connection. I mean, I love people. So it was such a great way for me to connect and learn who, and also be discovered in a way. Like I think it was Iconic who discovered us at the markets. So it's I'm so grateful for that space to allow us to be seen.
How did that happen? How did the Iconic discover you at the markets?
I think it was one of their buyers was obviously shopping the markets and saw a hat or a visor, so then they reached out, and which was amazing because from the hats, the bags, it went into the jewelry and it went into all our categories. So it was such an incredible opportunity to really put us on the map in the Australian market.
Like we set up our business to be a direct to consumer business, but the markets was a way to really connect in and build our brands, like on the ground, guerrilla style. The Iconic, though, like for us, that was such a key move because that elevated the awareness and almost legitimized us in the Australian marketplace. So that's kind of where we started our online journey, even though our tech stack was kind of pre-built, but no one knew us. At that point, Australia wasn't even shopping online. So it was early days.
What year are we talking here?
It was like 2016, 2017.
It was 2018, I would say, but I don't know.
Okay. So we're in that mess of startup times.
Yeah. Well, the hustle is very real. Morning pack up, pack down.
I'd be packing her car every single
resilience,
and unpacking her car, and she'd come home, exhausted, and I was exhausted with the babies at home, and she was exhausted with the markets all weekend. And
Isn't it funny? There is something about when you first have kids, young kids, so many people start businesses, and it's like, why do you pack all this together? Like I did the same. It's another common theme is like, we've got young kids, we'll start a business. You're like, oh my God, those years were just crazy.
Strange. I wonder.
I think you're hustling it. You know how to like really extend yourself.
Or you're desperate for something different. Like, I mean, the kids are amazing, but the routine is also like a routine. It's like, okay, here we go, bedtime.
I think young parents are in optimal training, like they're just like, I don't need much sleep. I don't need much food. I can do it all. But we actually started Arms of Eve when the kids were like, bigger than toddlers. We started our first business as we were having babies in LA. That was crazy. Like the infant's newborn stage and running a business in Los Angeles was insane.
You know that nervous feeling you get when you place your checked-in luggage on that airport baggage machine? You're kind of just hoping that your luggage arrives at your destination on time and in perfect condition. It's the same in e-commerce. You place a lot of trust in your last mile partners to deliver the final, crucial element of the customer experience. Now, imagine you are a premium product with over 100 years of customer experience expectations. That nervousness increases a lot. That's why Samsonite has chosen Deliver in Person for their reliable, on-time delivery to drive outstanding shopping experiences, enhance brand reputation, and significantly improve key delivery metrics. I mean, you can never be too careful when it comes to making sure luggage arrives on time and undamaged. Don't settle for less. Make your last mile experience the first thing that customers remember. Learn more about the incredible performance uplifts Samsonite has experienced since working with Deliver in Person at deliverinperson.com/case study Samsonite. What was that business?
That was merino wool. It was called Kerryn and Lee, and it was all cut and sew merino wool, like knitwear. Like basic kind of like high-end basic, but a little bit edgy knitwear.
Okay.
Which was,
And what inspired the transition from knitwear to jewellery?
It's a good question. I mean, I was in a very traditional wholesale business. It had done very well for us in Australia. I used to design for a label called Bracewell, and this knitwear was very successful. So I did it in Australia, in America, but I was winding down because I'm having these kids and I'm like exhausted and I'm wholesale and I'm waiting for, it's a cash flow nightmare. So I didn't want to sell these expensive, beautiful rolls of merino wool that were air freighted in for $50. So I was like, okay, I'm going to use the maximum amount of material. Like, how can I use this material in the best way without getting into sizing and clothing? And that's when I started scarves and ponchos. And I cut up like one roll into like 60 scarves or 60 ponchos. And I adorned it with like tassels or pom-poms. So I started accessorizing the scarves or the pieces. And that was amazing because then I got out of each roll, 60 pieces. And I brought that to Australia when we emigrated back. And I did an Etsy market. And my first Etsy market, I think I sold like $10,000 worth of this merino. And because Australians really understand merino wool and their properties and how, and it also was that whole one size fits all. That's what really got, I mean, I've always loved accessories and adorning and one size, but that was really how we were like, all right, that's it. It's one size, it's easy, it's shippable anyway. So
that started the accessories journey. We like living in LA and being so busy and having babies, we were there and witnessed the boom of e-com in the States. So our Amazon UPS delivery guy was at our door like every morning.
Good friend.
And we were like, wow, this is incredible. This is the future. And when we decided to move back and restart the business, we knew it had to be D2C. We knew that was the future of retail. We just didn't quite know how. And the accessories thing was just, like it was, we wanted to get out of sizing. We wanted one size fits all.
And it had proved itself. Like, it was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
And then the scarves turned into bags and the bags turned into jewelry. And we just kind of like, it all was this coastal lifestyle that Kerry was just so, she grew up here and she just wanted to, epitomize that essence and that flavor. So
it was very me. Like this brand, not the one I did before, was like an extension of myself. So it was like such a fun journey. It was like everything I want to wear, everything I do, so it's personal without my name, and it's easy because it has the essence. So it's everything I love. It still is. I love it.
And Kerry, are you designing all the jewelry yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, it is an element of curating too. Like my factories will be like, we've got this and this, and I'll be like, yeah, I love that. Now, can we do this or can we change this or so there's an element of both as it's evolved. Like so I think, it's a mix of curating and designing and traveling and working with these incredible artisans and factories, and they become friends and family. I mean, we are on like WhatsApp all night.
But the jewelry was like also very strategic in that, it was a beautiful small product. It was easy to ship. Like we were kind of thinking, like I'm kind of more the operational kind of thinker, but I'm like, this is like, you can get a nice price point and you can ship it. It's quite small.
Yeah.
You can warehouse it. We warehouse it ourselves. So it was kind of a nice product to move into.
And you can be totally unique, right? You can compete on design, not necessarily price.
Yes,
Exactly.
Absolutely. That exactly. That's really kind of making people feel like the individual, unique themselves, a way of expression. So that was, and it's also I think when Aaron met me, and we've been together a long time, I've always been adorned. I've always been
I don't think I've ever seen Kerryn's forearms.
No,
like
seriously.
she had bangles from wrist to elbow. When she walked, you can hear her coming a mile.
Like
everything was jingling and jangling.
Yeah,
so she was like,
natural. It's like
for her, the jewelry. Yeah, the jewelry was just like, this is you.
Yeah, totally.
As a husband, that must be intimidating if you need to go and buy jewelry or some sort of surprise.
I used to be good at it, not anymore. Now I just I wake up in bed and there's like a bangle stuck in my back. Like it's like she never takes her pieces off. Like swims, showers, sleeps, and
I'm really
everywhere.
Testing it. I'm testing the
quality.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hope the bangle in the back isn't from like some sort of hangover from the a business decision earlier that day or something.
Hopefully, no.
That was intentional. I'm just going to put that earring spike on this pillow.
So tell us about your target market, Kerry, because before you said about a core part of what you're doing is about empowering women. Who do you have in mind as your target market when you're designing jewelry, when you're talking to your customers? Who's front and center for you?
I mean, our target market it's an interesting, actually, it's always been multi-generational. I was saying, like, even in our retail stores, I'm really visually watching it, like where you have your 12, 13, 14-year-old coming in with their mother, the 14-year-old shopping, the mother shopping, and even the grandmother shopping. I mean, even within my family, my niece, myself, my mother, from 70 down. So it really is, because there's such a wide variety of products that, you're not going to get there's certain personalities in there, the dainty, the chunky, the subtle, the demure, the pearl. So it really does cross a lot of a lot of ages and stages. I do think our core is probably 25 to 40. But I mean, I know I hate to say weed for everyone, but there is something for everyone.
But, the younger girls want to look older.
Yeah.
The older girls want to look younger. I mean, it kind of,
exactly.
It does, like as Kerry said, like we have statement pieces that are a little bit maybe more mature, but then we've got like really cool friendship bracelets that are great for like the younger girls who are shopping our stores.
And it's also a great gift. We really fall into a good gifting category, which I've really kind of understood over time. So then again, you can gift we have a wide market.
I think that's really interesting because there's so much talk and research at the moment around how different generations are shopping and how to market to different generations, because it feels like there's people trying to create a divide between generations. How are you seeing that? Because you have shoppers across all ages. Are you seeing that there are distinct differences between how different generations shop and how you should be marketing to them?
I think so. I love to mesh our generations, but you're right. I do think there is a way. I think having the brick and mortar stores is an older generation, is a more mature, more trust and loyalty that comes there a little bit more. I mean, I think Facebook is an older demographic than your Instagram. TikTok is a younger demographic than your Instagram. So there's different ways that you're targeting audiences there. Your mature customer, you're going to definitely hear from them a customer service waiting for that parcel. They're a little bit less trusting and legitimacy of whether this is a real business, if it's a first time buyer. Whereas your younger generation, I mean, they're just so used to, they don't question nothing.
I think when it comes to online shopping, though, we always try to simplify the process, and I think that's important from all ages. So, the older generation, they're newer to online shopping, but we just always try to make that process really seamless and simple to check out. Like, it's not overly complicated. Yeah. We have a lot of SKUs, but we try to really guide people. And we're in the process of, like you said, the website's never done. We're like redoing our entire navigation because it's all about, at the end of the day, search. So we're trying to keep it simple so that helps everyone. But like, as Kerryn said, like in the stores are a great way of like really understanding the different ages and how they shop. But we definitely see like an older generation shopping the stores, which is awesome. We love that.
I love it.
And are you finding that with the current economic climate that we're in, are you finding that your older customers are more resilient or less fickle than younger customers? Are you noticing anything around spending power changing as wallets get a bit tighter? Because there's a lot of commentary out there at the moment about, older people having more money to spend. So if you're, before this time chasing the younger customer all the time, you might be more susceptible to fluctuations in the economy. Is that?
Yeah, and we've been kind of hearing that with everyone. Like, we wholesale quite a bit across Australia, and we're seeing that more so across our wholesale business in terms of how stores are buying. And it's sad to hear when stores have to shut doors. It's interesting to understand it from a wholesale perspective. It's harder from an online perspective. We do see it more from a retail, from our own stores. As Kerry just alluded to just earlier, our price point, like, we've always wanted to price things in a way where it was accessible luxury and it was a high quality, really like unique design. So we wanted to hit this zone, which is often hard to hit, which is not your cheap stuff and it's not your expensive stuff, but it was somewhere in that middle zone where it's, even when times are tough and people are being conservative, you can still make that really great purchase, still feel great, and it doesn't break the bank.
I love that. I just listened to the Acquired episode on LVMH. So 3.5 hours on LVMH. I'm like, I was listening to the podcast from a podcaster's perspective going, holy moly, imagine like editing 3.5 hours for a podcast.
Yeah.
But it's an incredible story. And they talk a lot in there around luxury versus premium, where premium is a brand like Apple, which might have products that are still functional, but are seen on a pedestal, but they're still very functional, right? You need to talk about the product benefits, what it does functionally different to others, but at a better level. Whereas luxury is often unexplainable. It's, at that next level where it doesn't necessarily, you don't need to talk about function. It needs to rely on brand, beauty.
It's emotional.
Emotional. Yes, exactly. Is that where you play?
It's interesting. Like, we have to play in that product premium space because there is a lot of product information in terms of like, we've worked really hard to get our products to such a way where you can swim in the ocean, you can shower, you never take it off, high quality. So for us, that's a real educational process. But when it comes to jewelry and accessories, it is about feeling good. So there is that emotional side of it as well. I don't think we sit in the luxury mindset,
I think it needs to feel like luxury. It needs to feel like, you know what I mean? That beautiful, but at that price point where it's just like, I'm not even going to think about it, I'm going to get it. And I was just thinking about one of the customers in our store the other day. Like, I think she was so surprised at, or even the reviews, at how high end and how elegant it felt and looked, and the wearability and how the quality of the product was. And I kind of love that, because sometimes you could just make it $100 more. And that's a decision of a brand, you know what I mean, at a certain point. But like, I want it to be attainable and affordable and like maintain that beauty and quality. So
that was always like, you can start a brand and you can start in a low price and always go up, right? But we wanted to stay in the zone. We wanted to play in the zone. I mean, Carrie's like, I call her the frugal gourmet. I mean, she wants value. And I think,
I'm like a market shopper. I want to find that fun. I want it to be quality. I want a good deal.
So like, when you say Apple and LVMH, like, in some ways, like, wow, we wish, but we don't really wish. We like staying below the Apple. Like, we want to be that premium feel good thing, but it even feels even better when you look at the price. So for us,
and it's still cool and it's got on trend and
it's fun, like
it's how I want to shop with everything.
And even the way we set up our retail stores, like nothing's under glass. Nothing feels like, ooh, what can I see that? No, everything's like laid out on a table. Like it's all to be engaged with. That's kind of who we are as a brand.
I mean, even me as a person, I don't think I've ever bought a brand, like a brand.
Yeah.
I'm just not,
So it really is about uniqueness and identity.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell us about setting up those retail stores. So you're on a bit of a retail tear at the moment. We've talked a little bit about that. About to open the 4th store in Noosa. What are your key considerations when you said at the start that, you set this up as a D2C business coming back from the States, seeing the potential there? Obviously, the Iconic came along, which takes you into marketplaces and wholesaling and now into retail. So we're a fair way away from D2C. Now, even though online's really important to you, what are your key considerations when you are setting up that retail environment so that people can have the experience that you want them to have?
It's interesting. Like we set up D2C and I was like hellbent. We are definitely not going into brick and mortar. And then especially with COVID, I was like, yeah, we're not going into brick and mortar. And then I think Kerry always kind of felt like the actual physical store is a place that manifests the brand. And she quite cleverly really understood that. And we tested out. We opened Bondi Beach first during the end of lockdown. It was like we did it ourselves. We didn't know what we were doing. And this is, again, done is better than perfect. We're still improving that shop today. Like, it's still so, like, needs help.
It was a mom and pop. That was, like, genuinely repainting. Our kids are sandpapering the bar. I mean, that was...
But
wow,
like,
it's cool. I always feel like I was testing. I like to test. I like to be flexible. I'm not stuck in one way. I'm not the most tech savvy either. So you want to talk all those tech questions to Aaron. I like people. I like engaging. I like connecting. I like feeling my customers, seeing what they're buying. My store girls are the representation of who I am. I want to know from them how things are moving. So a brick and mortar space was like an upscale market. It was like another opportunity to engage with my customer, learn from them, see what they want and need, adorn them. And so when that worked, like that really was quite successful, the little Bondi store. It gave people a place to go. And it was a very intentional shopper because that store is not on the main drag. It's like a little bit away from everyone and everything. So that was also a bit of a risk, but a calculated one too, because it was the many reasons on the price. And I did feel like it was still a good little
And then it
spot.
became like a hit and people were like, it was a destination. It surprised me, like it really did. And,
he was.
And then I kind of like, my mind just shifted into the world of omni-channel, which that was like, emblazoned across my face. It was like, so the stores really are another way to market our brand and to like manifest our brand in a physical sense. It drives people back to D2C and D2C drive people to stores. So it was like another facet that I didn't anticipate, but now we're kind of like, we're on store 4. We're actually going to do store 5. This is
okay, but slowly,
hot off the press.
I am like handbrake. I like retail, but I'm not like, okay,
We're looking at Westfield in the city in Sydney in CBD. So we're about to look at a very small place there where that's moving forward.
I think the great thing about retail is we have a very small footprint. Like we don't need a big space. And so again, I just like calculated risk, I'm like, we don't need a big space. The essence of the brand is the feel of the store is who we are. It's clean, it's coastal, minimal, but it's got a beautiful warmth about it, I hope.
And it's taken us 3 stores to figure out what that formula is, because that's a whole other learning.
Yes.
So for us, like
it does feel like the market's in a way, like it's not dissimilar to how I used to set up with all clumps of bracelets and stuff, because people, I realize, want to access product and try and feel. And then once they try it on, they can obviously visualize it and see it and connect with it. And that's an opportunity to talk about it. So there is that feeling in all the stores, round table, touching and feeling the store.
When you open a new store, so say whether that's Bondi, Noosa, Sydney, do you immediately see the impact on the online traffic, conversion sales?
I don't know if we immediately see it. Like when the doors open, we're like, spike.
No.
I mean, like
spike in that store. Spike on my little Tyro machine.
Yeah.
Yes.
like it's great as like it's an additional revenue channel. Like we've really sort of built out the business into like several different ways we sell Arms of Eve. But like for us, I think it's just about greater awareness.
Yeah.
Like that's Sydney CBD store when people are walking to the train, like, it's another place to see Arms of Eve.
Yeah.
It's another place, even if they don't shop there, they see it. Oh, I'm going to go online. Like I think there is a cross-pollination for sure, but can we measure it? No. I don't know. Like we love our data.
He tries to measure. He measures everything, but I don't think so. I do not think it's also like influencers and having like great celebrities wear our product. Does it have a great spike? I'm going to say no. You know what I mean? But what does it do? It validates the brand.
Okay. So you've had some amazing influencers and celebrities wearing you.
Yeah. Amazing. So grateful. Lucky. We're not paying them. It was gifted by an amazing PR team. It was great time and place. It was a beautiful combination. And then it resonated. It was genuinely worn. It was great for me that I could able to post that with joy. But does that mean you get like a spike in sales? A little bit.
I mean, you've heard of these things like Kim Kardashian does this and then the business is worth $20 million. Like,
yes, that happens.
Like it's happened.
If you pay Kim Kardashian, God knows how many, I don't know. That will happen. But this is more organic and just, it's validated. Something it's a touch point.
And we've always grown organically. I remember when we had like 1,000, followers on Instagram at one point, we were like high-fiving. Like it was all like one brick at a time, one person at a time, one like at a time. So for us, like, does it move the dial? Not really. I think like real,
combination,
like non-celebrities, influencers actually move the dial more than big celebrities.
Really? And are they hand-picked, your non-celebrity influencers?
Yeah,
generally,
there's a combination. People reach out to us, we reach out to them.
But I think there needs to be...
It's got an authenticity as well. Like, does it resonate? Because I feel like when you're authentic and you like the brand and you're going to genuinely wear it, your community can feel that. Like your customer, so it's like word of mouth. It's like your best friend. You love something, your best friend, it's validated. She likes it, you best friend, you like what she likes, you're now going to go get it.
Yeah, I think
the best lipstick.
Authenticity is the right way. Because I think, like consumers are savvy. Much savvier than they used to be.
People, we are savvy. We get it. Like you can know when someone's being real or not, even in a store. I'm always telling my store girls, if you don't push a sale, it's not what I want. I don't want to force anyone into anything. It's like supporting them and helping them with what they need or what they're looking for. Like, I don't want someone to buy this and go, what did I buy that for? That was weird. I want them to really like it.
Like with online, you want them to buy it, have a great experience.
Yes.
It's delivered. It looks exactly like what they imagine it to be. They makes them feel great. And then they come back again.
Comes with a little crystal, an extra bonus love,
Yeah.
We really love our customer.
And we do. And that's one of the reasons why we pack everything and we warehouse everything ourselves. Like we wanted to control the process from beginning to end.
From winning the block to establishing a leading personal care brand during COVID, it's fair to say that the Alive Body team can do anything that they put their mind to. But as the business grew rapidly, third-party applications didn't speak to each other, managing two separate sites for D2C and wholesale got costly, and budgets were blowing out. Sounds like the typical reno, really. But as we know, the Alive Body team don't settle for standard renos. That's why they upgraded to Shopify Plus, combining D2C and wholesale stores with a unified backend, creating country-specific stores, and optimizing the customer experience with Shopify Function. They've now got an award-winning online home, and it's paying off with 3 times more customer acquisitions and a 47% increase in conversion rate. It's enough to put a smile on any skeptical judge's face. Check out shopify.com/au/plus and get in touch with the Aussie Shopify Plus team to see how Shopify Plus can help you get your technical foundations in order.
I'm going to change track a little bit. I want to go back to what you said earlier, Aaron, around your online optimizations, especially around navigation. We're getting real nerdy here. I thought we might. Have you made any changes recently around simplifying the site that you're like, oh shit, I should have done this a lot earlier? Like, is there anything that you go, we've done this for so long, I've just made some simple changes based on customer feedback or customer behavior that I wish I did earlier?
there's this thing CRO,
Search
right?
yourself.
Like conversion rate optimization, like this very broad term of essentially it's making your website better and easier. So people can go from top of funnel all the way through, right? And then to making that purchase to converting. So like for us, it's about like how easily and quickly can someone, if they're searching for a bracelet, let's say, or, how quickly and easily can they find that? They can look at its properties, its qualities, its visuals, and get to checkout really easily. So I think search is really important.
And what have we done that we're doing to make it better?
I get it.
But we're doing something now. I'm very excited about it because I hate our nav.
We have this we have a lot of products. We have a lot of categories. We have resort wear, sunglasses, hats. We wanted to make a very I think in some ways it's about design. So it's about designing systems so that when you see one system, it's repeated for all the other different categories. So it's not like people have to look at something again and going, how do I make sense of this before I need to choose? So it's like there's a blueprint, and that blueprint is duplicated across the site. So for us, it's a lot about design. So our creative team and our e-com team have been working really hard at mapping this out on Figma, redesigning how
this is our nav. That's our most important. And I've been learning this myself. So I'm trying to use that
we're literally okay, well, how do we do this? How do we implement this? And that's something that's going to be very measurable in terms of once we fix this, I think Kerry goes every day going, I hate our website.
And I'm constantly wanting improvements, like the add to cart, the checkout, search, why doesn't, you just need a good developer all the time. I mean, I would say that's your greatest
It's working,
life.
but can it be better? Again, Kaizen, right?
That calms me.
It goes back to okay, we're going to fix this. We're going to fix this one at a time. And we're both the most impatient people in the world. We want it fixed 5 days ago. And, things do take time. We need to build out. We need to test. We need to understand it's a process. What can I say? It really is.
One thing I noticed on your website, which I thought was really cool because I've met the founders and I think it's an interesting product, is that you've integrated Clean on the website. For anyone who doesn't know Clean, it's essentially the ability to give back to organizations, whether it be offsetting carbon or whether it's donating to other organizations that are close to your heart based on every sale and communicating that to customers. How has that been for you so far? Because it's still a relatively new function.
It is new. But we've always done it.
It was always something that
was from the very beginning.
We believed as a brand to give back because that's just who we are. For us, it's always been for every transaction, we donate $1.
That was I equals change when we were using that.
And we've always wanted to put it in the hands of the customer going, where would you like to donate that? Now, we've always had our social justice initiatives, which is always, as a female founded business, it was always about supporting female initiatives. So we've always been involved in that. With Clean, we kind of went into more of the environmental side of things, and we wanted to impact our oceans. So for us, it's always been an integral part of who we are in terms of giving back. We love the fact that it does. I mean, what we see is that people love supporting businesses that support real initiatives. We're not doing that as a marketing tool. We're doing that because we need to feel good as founders, as owners of a business. So for us, it's who we are.
And what's amazing with Clean, some of our biggest, maybe Thread Together, we work with them locally in Sydney. And that's it's great to be able to not only give back that dollar through our website, but also to volunteer our time. And we often go in and do styling in different hubs to support those in need or in whatever capacity that can be. So it's kind of amazing, these platforms that now you can again enable anyone to give back, but we do that in a
and
team.
What's great about accessories is that most people who need things need basic things, right? They need clothes so they can go out and find a job or whatever. The accessories, it's what makes people feel good. Shirt and pants, great, but when you wear that bracelet or you wear the earrings, you feel adorned and you feel
it's a luxury.
confidence.
That's our word of luxury. It's not a necessity. It's a luxury, So especially when you're doing that charitable or you're really supporting those in need, it's you really see the impact. And we do it a lot in person in these hubs. And you're just to be able to be wearing new earrings or a new necklace, it's like such a gift.
Carrie's actually styling these women, and she's doing it with I Equals Change. And for her to be able to
thread together,
for her to be able to see that impact directly, it's, it makes everything worth it.
I agree with you, because I love that's what Thread Together do, working with Anthony there around creating wardrobes for people, not just giving clothes. It's like, how do we curate a wardrobe for you that you want to wear, that's brand new, that suits your style and your function and what you're doing, not just throwing some clothes that no one else wants at you.
Absolutely.
They are brilliant. Andy and Anthony, they are honestly, what they're doing is incredible. Yeah. I love being part of it, and agreed, it's like the full package, and often our team will go in and pick for certain orders, so glasses, it's amazing. It's so personal when, sometimes you're packing for hubs and sometimes you're packing for personal
orders. The whole business, we spend a whole day there. We go several times a year, and it's incredible. It's incredible. And we want our people to actually, it's important for all of us to do that.
Good on you guys.
As a business.
I know, it's easy to say all that, but to actually do it when you've got a family, you're running this business together, you've already got a lot on your plate, but to carve out time to do that work as well is exceptional.
I feel like when you do that, you just it just makes everything seem all the other stuff you're doing more worthwhile. Yeah. Even though at the time it's oh dude, we're trying 4 hours, a whole pick and pack team. Why can't we do 2 hours? You really have that nightmare debate. And then when you're there, you're like, dude, I can spend all day.
Yes.
It's about service work. It's this is what's so important about community and giving back on any level, and service particularly.
Guys, amazing stuff. There were so many avenues there that we didn't get to go down, but we are at time. I can imagine that there is no end to the small Kaizen improvements that you have on your plate. You've already mentioned opening up the 5th store, let alone the 4th store that's soon to be open. What else is on your radar for the next 12 months? Where are you going to be putting your energy?
Well, it's that website that constantly needs attention, right? So that's the never-ending story. But
navigation, we are starting a loyalty program, which is going to be really amazing, because that's another way of giving back to my loyal customers.
But it's true loyalty. We really want to reward our best customers. So it's really giving them things along the way.
Our website's in a good place and our developers have the capacity, that's next. And then engraving, we're doing engraving. That's launching next week. So that's cool. Our developers just finished that part. So
and we've been training ourselves in-house on how to use this amazing engraving machine. And so for us, it's just, it's never ending.
Barcoding our warehouse is a huge priority before Black Friday. So we can
we're digitizing our warehouse. We're headed out tomorrow overseas with the kids to visit our factories. We always visit our suppliers.
Where are they? Where are your factories?
They're all over. They're in India and China, but we're headed to China. So we're going on an adventure with the kids. It'll be amazing.
That's so good. I love how we started out talking about Kaizen and, really calm, really zen, small improvements, continual change. And then I go, what else is coming up in the next 12 months? And you're like, all this stuff. And you're like,
there is nothing calm about us as people either. It's that's why we have to say Kaizen a lot.
It's the most fun thing to do.
Yeah,
we
grateful.
Just have the best time doing this. And we just never want it to end. It's just great.
I love it. And I can't wait to see the journey continue. Aaron and Kerry, thank you so much for joining us on Add to Cart. If you want to direct people anywhere to check out Arms of Eve and keep up with what you are doing, what's the best way for people to do so?
Instagram.
I think that's where we show a lot of behind the scenes of what's happening in the business. And also we answer the
messages personally. I think Instagram is really good. Info at email.
To be
LinkedIn,
honest,
not me. I'm on LinkedIn.
We read every single
review,
customer service email
order,
and review as owners. We're very hands-on. So if you reach out, we'll there.
Find you. Yeah, you'll reach us.
Amazing. Aaron and Kerry, thank you so much for joining us on Add to Cart. It's been brilliant chatting to you and getting to know the Arms of Eve story. Incredible so far. Can't wait to see what's coming up. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Nate. That was awesome.
Thanks for having us.
We loved it.
That was really fun. Thank you.
That was a fun chat with an incredible couple. Apart from constantly being in awe of couples who can run a business together, what shone through for me was the genuine passion and the authenticity that flowed from the Arms of Eve brand, especially with Kerry. This is such an amazing foundation for any brand where it is anchored to a founder, and you can see it shine through in everything from product to marketing to design. Here are the 3 main takeaways that I took from this episode. Number 1, Kaizen. The Japanese term meaning change for the better or continuous improvement. It's something that I came across in my recent trip to Japan and have done a lot of reading on, and it resonated strongly with Aaron and Kerry since they started their business. You will see that there is a lot to this concept, but at its core, it's fairly simple. Famously implemented by Toyota, it is said to humanize the workplace and focus on progress over perfection. I think it's worth a quick look and a quick reflection whether that can be applied in your operations or your projects, especially if they're feeling a bit stale or they're stalling. Think about those small improvements. Number 2, the frugal gourmet. I loved Aaron's description of Kerryn, the frugal gourmet. It sounds like the cafe that just opened up down the road, but it's a concept that is very relevant currently when brands are competing for everyone's ever more precious dollars. How can you deliver the very best quality, a product that touches an emotional chord, but keep it affordable? With tight wallets that are expected to continue for another 12 months, but customers still wanting that taste of luxury, the frugal gourmet may be the strategy that unlocks a new revenue stream for your business. And number 3, authenticity beats selling. We heard about the in-store experience that Kerry and Aaron were establishing. While they admit it's not perfect, they are aiming for authentic rather than flashy. They want customers to connect, not to be pushed upon. For them, it's about supporting a customer to find what they need, not convincing them to buy something that they don't want. That will turn them into long-term customers. If you feel like you're selling in your marketing or your communications, you probably are. Bring it back to authenticity and you'll get true connection with your customers. Before you go, we'd love to invite you to join our free e-commerce learning platform, Add to Cart Campus. Meet other professionals and learn from e-commerce experts to take your business and your e-commerce career to the next level. Register to join Campus at addtocart.com.au/campus. Now, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you share it with a friend or a colleague, or even better, leave us a review on Spotify or Apple. It really makes a difference.